Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Jake with Myers Flies. Today we're going to be tying a traditional Atlantic salmon fly known as the black bear greenbutt. This was a traditional salmon fly that was used for the eastern part of Canada. A lot of people will debate over where it came from, who developed the pattern, but most salmon fishing authorities will say that there was a fella named Harry Smith up in Cherryfield, Maine back in the 20s who came up with this, and his original pattern was just called the black bear. It was all black, very similar to this, but it's been changed over the years. As you can see, now they call it the black bear greenbutt, obviously because of the hot spot that's back here. So over the years, people have kind of switched it up a little bit and made it a little more flashy. It's also good for trout. You can tie it on a lighter style hook. This is the Daiichi 2451 here that I tie a lot of the salmon flies that I tie on these. But anyhow, it's a good trout fly as well. You can tie it on a lighter hook. You can also switch up the colors a little bit. There's a like a hot pink type color, and then you just switch up your thread a little bit. There's like a hot orange type color as well. So you can play around with it. It's a fun fly to tie. I'm going to do the green, the chartreuse, the hot spot here today, and obviously this is, as I'm going to tie it, is not the what would be a traditional type tying of this salmon fly. There's a lot of history involved in that, a lot of customs that those guys that tie those flies, they stay very tight to the original ways of tying them. I'm not going to do that. I'm not in that bracket, if you would say that. I would be elementary school amateur compared to those guys. So we've got our 2451 size 4 here in the vise. Then what we're going to do is we're just going to start our thread back about maybe 2 eye lengths. And I'm just going to run this all the way back. You're building up the body with thread. That's basically what it is. And you're going to see me spin this several times. I'm going to counterclockwise spin this thread because I want to keep it flat. That's the key to this fly, is keeping that thread flat so it doesn't build up bulky spots. Now, when I tie this, I let my barb of that hook stick out because that's going to be a reference. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that thread back to about where that barb is, okay, and then I'm going to advance it back up. And again, it doesn't have to cover perfectly at this point. We'll do that more with the black thread when we finish up, but what we want to do is lay a nice smooth underbody to this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of just a little bit of uni, the French oval tinsel silver. This is medium, and I'm going to put this on the near side of my hook and just tie it in right along the side. And I'm just going to run that back, and as I'm running this back, I want it to drift down to the bottom. Okay, so I'm letting that thread just kind of drift under as I'm tying this to where it's going to go underneath. And again, spinning that thread, get the braid lay real nice and flat. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this around, and this is going to give us our back section. Okay, so that's 5 times, and then I'm going to bring my thread, I'll unwrap it, bring it right back to there, and then tie that thread off. Now, minimal thread wraps are very important in this fly. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this lay forward a little bit and tie that off. You can run this all the way back up through. Just let that oval come right up through here, and what that's going to do is it's going to allow that body to stay a little bit symmetrical. But what I'm doing back here right now is I'm going to just take my time making sure that this is nice and smooth back at this hot spot, because this is going to be seen. Usually I'll do this about two widths of my my oval tinsel there. Okay, so, and it usually will be right about at the front of my hook point when I'm done. I'm going to lay this down smooth. You can even build this up just a little bit, and it won't hurt nothing. But then we're going to end right at about the front. Having little points that you're tying to, gives you, make sure that you can repeat the fly, obviously, but then it also keeps things in proportion. Different hooks. A lot of times when I'm tying a fly, I'll tie it 1, 2, 3 times, and then I'm looking at it, getting proportions where I can look at, okay, on this hook, I want this thread to stop at the hook point. I want this to stop back here at the barb, and that'll just help you as far as reference as you tie, certain patterns. So I'm going to go ahead and advance this. Just advance it back up, and again, it doesn't have to. This doesn't have to cover all the way. All we're trying to do is just get it to lay flat. And then what I'm going to do, that's it. That's all I need out of that hot spot type thread there. I'll just put 2, 3 whip finishes, and that's it. And I can cut that off. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is take my black UTC 140. I like to use the UTC just because you can really kind of counterclockwise uncord it there and make it lay real flat. And I'm just going to come back just a little bit on this, again keeping that flat, covering that up as we go. And you'll see, obviously I'm looking at my side of the near side of the hook, you're looking at the far side of the hook. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that oval tinsel that I had, started with about a 5-inch piece, and then I'm going to come in and tie this back in. And when I tie this back in, I'm going to let it drift and tie it in more to the bottom. Okay, I just want this. I want this to go into the bottom. So I'm going to kind of tilt my vise a little bit, just so that I can see underneath of it. And again, we'll cover up some of these spots on the way back up through. I'm going to try to get it real close right now as I go back. But then as you can see, you'll miss a couple little spots, but that's okay. We'll get them on the way back up through, because I don't want to build it up too much. The thread gets too bulky. Now again, I'll tie this right back to about that hook point. Okay, that's going to be my reference as I tie these right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of black strung saddle hackle, and I'm going to take a pinch of this, and I'm going to let that be about, about a 1/2 inch or so. And when I pull these, I'm going to pull this up straight up to where those tips will align for me. So wherever those tips align, I'm going to pinch them very firmly and just rip it straight off. And then that way, whenever I pinch it in my other hand, the tips stay aligned. This is going to be your tail. What I do is I take this to about the back side, maybe just a little bit past of the hook bend here. So I'll tie that in, get it on there, Get two nice wraps there. And so, see, there you go. You got a nice tail. And then I'm just going to wrap that right around and then stop. Come in. Snip that off. Now you could let that lay down, if you want to build the body up a little bit more. That would be fine. Oh, yeah, that's what you don't want to do. So it's already cut to length. So all I need to do now is just bring it back, and I can tie that right back in. That should go on the blooper reel. Okay. Those things happen when you're tying. You just gotta stop and fix it. Now, what you're gonna do is keep this. This is gonna be your finished body now. So as I go up through here, I want to make sure, and I'm gonna roll it back. I'm gonna roll it forward. I'm gonna make sure that all of this is covered up as I go up through, stopping counterclockwise. So you'll cover up all those spots. I'll just bring that up all the way through. I'll stop. Now, if you were going to tie this fly as a showpiece, obviously you would take a little more time with the body, making sure that everything is perfectly smooth. I'm not. I'm fishing these, and so when I'm done, that bear hair is going to cover the top up. But you can see it's got a nice smooth body, nice even shape, and I'm okay with that. That's good. I'm good. So I'll bring my thread up, bring it to the end. Now what I can do is I can take my tinsel and just kind of on an angle, just kind of angle it up, get me 4. Usually with this hook, with this shank, with everything, I get 4 even spaces. 4 even spaces. And I'll tie this up at the end. Okay. Looks nice. Again, like I said, you can be as fussy with this as you like. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and throw just like a 2-3 whip finish on there, just to kind of save my work. Turn it upside down, readjust. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that black strung saddle hackle again, and now I'm going to do the throat of the fly. And here I'm going to do the same thing, line the tips up, pull that off. And again, as a reference, I'm going to stay just at that hook point right here at that collar right there. Transfer it to this hand, and we'll tie that off. That's it. Now you can put another little chunk on there if you like. Depends on how much you want that to be pronounced. I want to bring it up, rotate it back around. Okay, now I'm going to take a chunk of the bear hair here off of this hide, and just snip a clump of that off. And when you snip this off, you'll see you have the hair fibers up here, and as you go down through, it gets real like that under fur. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to pull this under fur. That's what keeps that bear warm in the winter, and that is amazing how thick that stuff is. So we're going to pull all that stuff out, then we're going to put it in a hair stacker. We're going to stack that down. You don't have to align the tips of this. It's all preference. But now what I've got, and I just a real sparse. I mean, you don't need much at all. Maybe about the diameter of the fly there. Not much at all. And so then you'll see all the underfur is out, but there's a discoloration there. So now what I'll do is hold it to where it extends just past that tail, transfer my fingers here. Now that's where I need to cut it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it down, cut it into my little trash area there, and I can take this, put it back up here right at the end, and tie that around. Now, that's it. I don't want to put a whole lot there. As you can see, I'm not going to wrap it a ton. I'll just give a couple whip finish there, get it snug, get it tight, and then that's it. What we're going to be doing with the Solarez head cement, get some fuzzies there from the. Sometimes if I get those strands, let me just show you something real quick. Them little strands from the thread. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll just take a lighter and I'll hold everything back so the lighter can't get to it, and then just kind of let it pass through 1-2 times. It'll get those fuzzies off of there for you, because when you put Solarez on there, those fuzzies, they kind of pop up through. But that's it. That's your Black Bear green butt. And then I'm going to take the Solarez head cement and just put a little dab all the way around. This is the bone dry. I really like this for finishing off heads of flies. Hit the light. That's it. So you can you can tie these relatively fast. It's not a very hard fly. I mean, really, you've got thread, and you've got the oval tinsel and the bear hair and the saddle hackle. I mean, it's just a few materials right there. But give that a try, and then tie them in some different colors back here. Sometimes what I'll do is take a little bit of that Solarez and just dip it right on those threads. You don't have to, but if you want to make it look real nice and shiny. But give that a try. I'll have some of this bear hair down at the fly shop, so stop down at 525 Liners Creek Road there in Dallastown. Check us out online at myersflies.com. Also, give us a follow on Instagram and like our Facebook page. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. Give us a call, shoot us an email. We'll do what we can to help. Hope you have a great day. God bless.